I kind of put the little ones on the spot this morning and asked them, what we talked about in Bible class. Kimmy was a teacher, but I was in there with them, and they talked about joy and what brings them joy and where it comes from in your heart. And I mentioned that what brings me joy is food, somebody cooking for me. But that's selfish. And what really brings me joy is what I have sitting next to me, the grandkids and my niece, and just being around my church family. That brings me joy. And we're around the table this morning, and we've been to many funerals in our lives, and now instead of calling it a funeral, they call it a celebration of life. And they have people come up there and they talk about the person that passed away, and they tell stories, and they tell exciting stories, and they tell of the good times, and I was thinking on this, wrote down a few things. How do you keep a story alive? You keep telling it, you keep sharing it, you read about it, and the Bible, we read about God and His Son Jesus' story in the gospel. We read about the many miracles Jesus did, and the many miracles that He did that are not even written down. And we just keep telling that story, and we talk about when we first became a Christian, and when we first started going to church, and who taught us the gospel, and just that time, and this Bible and the gospel, it just talks about many things. I'm going to just read just one of the stories, and then I'm going to read another important one too, that we always got to remind ourselves what God did for us. This is in the book of Mark in chapter 6, where Jesus feeds the 5,000, one of the many stories. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all that had been done and taught. And because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him in this remote place. They said, "It is already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of a man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat? How many loaves do you have?" he asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, Five loaves of bread and 2 fish. Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave to them his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 baskets of broken pieces of bread and fish, and the number of men who had eaten was 5,000. This is probably one of the most exciting stories and fulfilling stories for us in our life. And this is also in Mark in 16, starting in verse 9. This is the resurrection of Jesus. This is what I feel that brings joy to me, that he did this for us. When Jesus rose early on the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had driven 7 demons. They went and told those who had been with him and who were mourning and weeping. When they heard that Jesus was alive and that she had seen him, they did not believe it. Afterwards, Jesus appeared in a different form of the 2 of them while they were walking in the country. They returned and reported it to the rest, but they did not believe them either. Later, Jesus appeared to the 11 as they were eating. He rebuked them for their lack of faith and their stubbornness, refusal refusal to believe that those who had seen him after he had risen. He said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the good news to all creation. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned." Let us give thanks.